Good morning, dear all. How are you all? I hope you all are doing well. Okay, so let us start with our next topic, that is histogram. Okay, so bar graph, double bar graph, histogram together, it is in the first exercise of the chapter 19. All right. Okay, so bar graph already we have done. We have also learned about double bar graph. Now today we will be starting with histogram. So let me make you clear what is the difference between a bar graph and a histogram. So when I will show you the histogram, so you will find a difference that all the rectangles which we are drawing with respect to the frequency, when we were drawing it in bar graph, we were leaving some appropriate or the uniform gaps. Okay, among them the gaps were there which was same. But in histogram, since histogram is plotted for a grouped frequency data, so in this we don't leave any gap among the graphs or among the rectangles. Okay, so can you see they are in a continuation? So in histograms, all the graphs or all the rectangles are drawn without leaving a gap. So basically, you need to understand what is histogram. So alright, let us start with histogram is a special type of a bar graph. It is a type of a bar graph. Okay. The difference between bar graph and histogram is that letter is used. Letter means histogram only. Okay, is used to represent grouped frequency distribution graphically. Okay, so here we are using grouped frequency data or grouped frequency distribution to represent the data. Alright, so this is how we have to construct the histogram by using the rectangles without leaving any gaps. Now, while drawing a histogram, what are the key points that one should know? The first key point is taking suitable scales. Already, so we have known that we have already learned that before making any graph, we have to name the title of the graph. Okay, so other than that, what do we have to take care? We have to take the scales. Okay, in which the class interval means range. We have to start from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15 like this. Okay, so let me show you the graph. Class interval. So can you see along the x-axis we have 0 to 10, then 10 to 20, then 20 to 30. So this range is known as class interval. So the range or the class interval is always plotted along x-axis and the corresponding frequency along y-axis. Okay, so whenever we draw a histogram, we have to take the scale, same, the scales should be, or the lines, vertical lines should be perpendicular to each other. The x scale or the horizontal scale should have a class interval, and the vertical scale should have the frequency distribution or the frequency. We have to plot the frequency or the number of happenings. Then we have to construct the rectangles with class interval as a base. That means class interval which we have plotted along the x-axis, that will be the base for the rectangle or for the graph, and the corresponding frequencies and height. So vertical height along the frequencies and the base must have the class interval. Okay, so here is the example. Let us go with the example. The following grouped frequency distribution shows the age profile of an audience in a cinema hall. So can you see the age group? We have in the range from 5 to 15, then from 15 to 25, then from 25 to 30. And can you see the gap in the age group which is given, or the gap in each class interval is same? There is a range or there is a gap of 10. And the number of people is given corresponding to each age group. So accordingly now we have to make a histogram. Now how to draw the histogram? Let us go with it. Okay, so here we have to make the histogram. Okay, so this is the y-axis along which we will plot the frequency, and this is x-axis along which we will plot the age group. Can you see? This is the age group starts from 5 to 15. 5 to 15. So there was no such range starting from 0. So from 0 to 5 we will draw such zigzag. Zigzag means this is not at all considered. Okay, or this scale is not considered in the question. Okay. So from 5 to 15 we have plotted, then from 15 to 25 and so on till 65. This is the age group, and corresponding is the number of frequency or the number of people. Alright. Okay. So can you see in the graph we don't have any gap among any of the rectangles. Okay. So when we don't have a gap, that is considered in a histogram. Now the first point is have their age 45 years or more? So according to the graph, we have to answer how many people have their age 45 years or more. So can you see this is 45? Okay, can you see this is 45? So 45 year or more means 45 to 55, 55 to 65. Okay, so this we have to answer. So can you see the stars over the age group which is greater than 45? Now this is 40 and this is 8 and together it will give you 22. So there are 22 people who have the age greater than 45. The next question is based on the same graph is how many people have their age less than 25 years. Again, let us go to less than 25 years. So this is 25 to 15, 15 to 5. So the corresponding frequency is 6 and 10. So total we have 16% of the 16 people whose age group is less than 25. Alright, now again to test your knowledge, we have a given histogram and on the basis of the given histogram, we have to answer the following question. Okay, so given histogram is regarding the number of housewives. Okay, this is the number of housewives and number of hours they spent on some particular activity. Okay, so the given figure shows, can you see the figure? Okay, can you see? It is in the form of a range 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35. And can you see the gap in the class interval is same 5, 5. And can you see the rectangles which we have drawn is not having any gap in that. So what kind of pictorial representation it is? It is a histogram. So this form of data in which no rectangles have any gap among them, this represents histogram. Okay, now again the same number of housewives and the number of hours. So what we have to find is, okay, it was a solution that a histogram is the representation of the group frequency, and this we have already discussed that yes, when we don't have the gap among the any of the rectangles, then it is known as histogram. All right. Now, so that was all about histogram. So what we have learned is that a histogram is basically used to construct a frequency grouped data. Okay, and for the construction of histogram, first we have to name the title of the graph. Then we have to see the class interval, keeping in mind that class interval should have the same gap. Okay, class interval means class range starting from 0 to something or 0 to 1, 1 to 2. So like that, the gap is considered among class interval, and the class interval is always plotted along x-axis. Then along y-axis we will have the corresponding frequency. For example, I have taken the range from 30 to 35 minutes. We watch TV. Then from 35 to 40 minutes, we wash dishes. From 45 or from 40 to 45 minutes, we play badminton. So this is the activity we do in a corresponding range of minutes. So the range of minutes, so the class interval is plotted along x-axis, and the activity or whatever we are doing, so number of hours spending in those activity or frequency is plotted along y-axis. Okay, for example, I say from 30 to 35 minutes, okay, the 10% are doing the activity. From 35 to 40, 15% are doing any activity. Okay, so this 10 and 15 represent the number of person doing any of the activity in a given range of time. So the range of time is plotted along x-axis, and the given person, number of people, is plotted along y-axis. Considering the rectangles which we will make in a histogram will not have any gap among them, and the base of the rectangle should be along x-axis, and the corresponding height will be along the y-axis. Okay, and one more reminder to you, whatever the graphs you are getting as a solution of the exercise, kindly draw that graphs in a graph paper, not on a normal sheet of a paper. Thank you.